Hey, welcome to Sugary Sweet. I'm Chef Tovia. This is a request that I got. How to make Hawaiian rolls in the stand mixer. So I'll be making them in my Geek Chef stand mixer. Here are the ingredients you're going to need for today. Please add this video to a playlist, share it, give me a thumbs up, and leave a comment. Please don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell to be notified of new uploads. And you can find all my social media and contact information in the description box as well. So this video is going to be lengthy, but it's because it's going to be very detailed. So I got a request to show how to make Hawaiian rolls in the stand mixer. So what I'm doing is making a sponge. I am putting together the this is the yeast, flour, and warm water. To mix all this together. Now I'm going to let this rest for 15 minutes. Now cover this and let this rest for 15 minutes. So it's been 15 minutes, and now I'm going to attach my paddle attachment, and I'm going to add the eggs, the butter, and the butter's at room temperature. You can use salted or unsalted. And I'm going to add the vanilla, pineapple juice. I just use pineapple juice from a can of pineapple. And brown sugar. If you need a recipe for how to make brown sugar, please check the description box. I have a demonstration on that as well. I'm going to lower the head of the mixer and shield. So I'm going to mix this until it's completely combined. So I have here some flour. This is all-purpose flour. You can use bread flour. I have here some regular salt, and I have here some cornstarch. You can use potato starch or cornstarch. So I'm going to turn the machine off, and I'm going to add this flour. Turn the machine, set the head down. So this is about a cup of the flour that I've added to this. I just mixed this until it became smooth. So I'm going to take the paddle off, and I'm going to attach my dough hook. And I'm going to add enough flour to give us a pliable but sticky dough. So add a little bit more flour. So I'm going to give this a hand and scrape it. Just kind of scrape all this flour down. Quicker. So it's obvious that it needs more flour. You can just look at it, see how wet it is. So I'm going to add that flour. Okay, so it's starting to pull together as a dough. So I'm going to stop the machine for a minute. I'm going to scrape everything down. And I'm going to give you a close-up and a picture so you can see exactly what the dough is supposed to look like. Okay, so you can just look at that dough. You see how wet it is? Okay, so that picture that you see there shows you that the dough is still pretty wet, so I'm going to add just a little bit more flour at a time. I'm going to adjust the speed as it's starting to pull away from the sides of the bowl. Just give it a minute to see what it's going to do. So the dough is still sticking to the sides of the bowl here, as you see, so it needs more flour. So I'm going to add a little bit of flour at a time. So I'm going to give the bowl a scrape. Just when you make any type of dough, it's always a good idea just to make sure you're scraping, because you don't want any leftover flour that hasn't been kneaded into the dough or worked into the dough properly, whichever term you prefer. So I'm going to show you. It's still quite sticky, but I'm going to knead it for a minute, just for 1 minute, and we're going to see what it looks like. I'm going to knead this on speed number 1 for 1 minute exactly, because it's starting to come off the sides of the bowl, and I just want to build up some of the gluten. So I just kind of knead it for a moment. So I'm going to add more flour, because you can just look at it until it's still sticky. So the dough is starting to come away from the sides of the bowl here. So I'm going to stop the machine. I'm going to give it a scrape. Scrape everything very well. I'm going to touch it. Okay, so it's sticky, but it's not leaving a ton of residue in my hand. So this is what I want. So I'm going to knead this and just watch it for a moment. But I'm going to knead this for about 5 to 6 minutes, because now we need to finish letting the dough develop its texture. If I see the dough start to stick to the sides of the bowl a little bit too much, I'll touch it and see what the dough feels like, and see if it needs more flour. So the dough's not sticking to my hand. It's sticky. I'll show you close up. It's quite sticky, but it's not really sticking to my hand. So this is what we want. So let this knead for 5 minutes. So it's been going for 5 minutes. I'm going to turn the machine off. And going to lift the head up. Going to clean everything off. And it's not really sticking to my hand. So this is what we want. It's a nice sticky dough, but it's not too sticky. So I'm just scraping everything from the bottom of the bowl here. I dust my surface with a little bit of flour here. I'm going to turn my dough into the flour surface, and I'm just going to knead it a couple of times, and then we're going to let it rise. So I'm going to knead it, and then I'm going to take a picture so you can see what the dough looks like. When you press it, the dough springs back. That's another indication that it's been kneaded properly. So what I'm going to do is just put this dough back into my bowl here. Don't worry about cleaning it. I mean, it's all dough. It's going to be all sticky and everything. So you can cover this with a plastic wrap. You can cover it with a plate or whatever, just to keep the draft out. And we're going to let this rise for about an hour and a half. Okay, so I have a 9x13 baking dish here. I'm going to spray it with baking spray. This is baking spray with flour. And then I have my dough here that has doubled in size. So I'm going to press all the air out the dough. And the dough is going to be kind of sticky, but that's okay. So I'm going to weigh my dough. 60 is okay. So we're going to create 16 dough balls, 58-ish to 60 grams if you're going to weigh it. So I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of flour on my surface here.
Just a little bit. And this is just to kind of keep the dough from sticking. I'm not going to roll the dough in the flour, but I just dust my hands with the flour. So what I'm doing is just gathering the outside edges and just pinching it together at the bottom. And I'm just going to kind of roll it in the bottom, but just to kind of press that little crease in the bottom end. And I'm going to place it in my 9x13 baking pan. I just dust my hands with a little flour to keep the dough from sticking. Gathering the outside edges, pulling it in. And the reason why we do that is it keeps you from having seams on the side. So you won't have any seams that when it rises it pops open. So I got this in my pan, lined up in 4x4, and now I'm going to let this double in size. So I'm going to let this sit for about 45 minutes. Okay, so it's been about an hour, and I have here my egg white that I've beaten with 2 teaspoons of milk. And I just add the additional the milk because the milk just gives it a nice brown color. So I'm going to just brush the tops down gently, being carefully not to press the air out. And then this is going to go in a preheated 375 degree oven for about 20 to 25 minutes. So my Hawaiian rolls are done. I'm going to brush the top with some butter. These just came straight out of the oven. I just want to show you all how soft they are. You see they just rise back up. So I'm going to pull one out, let you guys see it. It's still pretty hot, but look at the crumb of it. Very nice and soft. And if you want to know how to make these by hand, if you don't have a stand mixer, please head over to the Sugary Sweet. The link is in the description box. I have a video demonstrating that. And also just try this recipe. Add it to your playlist, please. Share it with everyone, please. Subscribe if you aren't subscribed. I have a giveaway coming very soon. Please leave a comment if you have any, or a request if you have any. Remember to live and be well. Let's do what we can to come together to love one another. And let's do what we can to fight racism and discrimination, because it is very important for us to survive in today's world. Thank you all to my subscribers. Thank you everyone who have purchased items from my wish list. I'm so grateful. Thank you all so much.